Sarah Mitchell had always dreamed of looking elegant, but her bank account told a different story. As a single mother working 2 jobs to support her 8-year-old daughter Emma, designer clothes seemed as distant as the stars. She would often scroll through social media, admiring the polished looks of celebrities and royals, feeling a pang of longing in her chest. It was a rainy Tuesday evening when everything changed. Sarah was folding laundry in her small apartment while Emma did homework at the kitchen table. The television murmured in the background, showing a news segment about the Princess of Wales attending a charity event. Sarah glanced up, expecting to see another expensive designer gown that would cost more than her monthly salary. Instead, she saw something that made her pause mid-fold. Catherine was wearing a simple navy blazer over a white blouse, paired with dark jeans and brown leather boots. The outfit looked effortlessly chic, yet surprisingly attainable. The news anchor mentioned that the blazer was from Zara, a store Sarah actually shopped at occasionally. "Mommy, why did you stop folding?" Emma asked, looking up from her math problems. Sarah blinked, realizing she had been staring at the screen. "Nothing, sweetheart. Just watching the news." But it wasn't nothing. For the first time in years, Sarah felt a spark of hope. If a princess could look stunning in affordable clothes, maybe there was a way for her to feel confident and beautiful without breaking the bank. That night, after Emma went to bed, Sarah found herself researching the Princess of Wales' wardrobe choices. She discovered that Catherine often mixed high-end pieces with affordable finds from stores like H&M, Zara, and even supermarket brand George at Asda. The princess had a talent for making budget-friendly pieces look expensive through careful styling and confident wearing. Sarah's neighbor, Mrs. Chen, knocked on the door the next morning. The elderly woman often helped watch Emma when Sarah worked late shifts at her second job cleaning offices. "You look different today," Mrs. Chen observed, her wise eyes twinkling. "More hopeful?" Sarah smiled, realizing she had taken extra care getting dressed that morning. She had paired her own navy cardigan with white jeans and brown flats, inspired by what she had seen on television. "I guess I'm feeling a bit more optimistic about things." "Good clothes give good confidence," Mrs. Chen nodded knowingly. "My grandmother always said, dress like you already have what you want, and it will come to you." At her day job as a receptionist at a local dentist's office, Sarah noticed how differently people treated her. Dr. Peterson complimented her professional appearance, and several patients asked if she had done something different with her style. The attention felt foreign but wonderful. During her lunch break, Sarah walked past the Zara store in the nearby shopping center. She had never dared to enter before, assuming everything would be too expensive. But, remembering the princess's navy blazer, she took a deep breath and stepped inside. The store was intimidating at first, with its sleek displays and fashionable mannequins. Sarah felt out of place among the younger shoppers who seemed to navigate the racks with confidence. She was about to leave when a sales associate approached her. "Can I help you find something?" the young woman asked kindly. I saw this blazer on the news," Sarah stammered. "The Princess of Wales was wearing it? Navy blue, from here?" The associate's face lit up. "Oh yes. That blazer has been incredibly popular since she wore it. We actually have a few left in different sizes. Would you like to try one on?" In the fitting room, Sarah slipped on the blazer. The fabric felt substantial and well-made, much nicer than she had expected for the price. When she looked in the mirror, she saw someone she barely recognized. The blazer transformed her simple white blouse and black pants into something that looked professional and polished. "How does it fit?" the associate called from outside. Sarah opened the door, feeling self-conscious. The young woman's eyes widened appreciatively. "That looks amazing on you. It's like it was made for your figure. The princess really does have good taste, doesn't she?" The price tag made Sarah's heart skip a beat. While not cheap by her usual standards, it was far less than she had imagined a princess blazer would cost. She thought about her grocery budget, her upcoming bills, Emma's school expenses. But she also thought about how confident she felt, how the other customers in the store had nodded approvingly when they saw her. "I'll take it," she said before she could change her mind. Walking home with the Zara bag, Sarah felt like she was carrying a piece of magic. She had never spent that much on a single item of clothing for herself, but something told her this was an investment, not just an expense. That evening, she modeled the blazer for Emma, who clapped her hands in delight. "Mommy, you look like a princess." Sarah laughed, but the words touched her heart. Maybe she couldn't afford a royal lifestyle, but she could carry herself with royal dignity. Over the next few weeks, Sarah began paying closer attention to how the Princess of Wales styled her affordable pieces. She noticed that Catherine often wore the same items multiple ways. The dress could be dressed up with heels and jewelry for formal events, or dressed down with flats and a cardigan for casual outings. A simple blazer could be worn with jeans for a relaxed look, or with a dress for something more formal. Sarah started experimenting with her own small wardrobe. She discovered that her white button-down shirt, which she had always considered boring, could look completely different when worn under her new blazer, or tied at the waist over a simple dress. Her black pants worked just as well with heels and a nice top for work as they did with sneakers and a casual sweater for weekends with Emma. One Saturday, while she and Emma were at the park, Sarah noticed another mother admiring her outfit. "Excuse me," the woman said, approaching hesitantly. "I hope you don't mind me asking, but where did you get that blazer? It looks so expensive, but you seem so approachable." "I've been wanting to improve my style, but I don't have a huge budget." Sarah felt a warm glow of pride. "It's actually from Zara," she said, then found herself telling the story of seeing the Princess of Wales wearing the same piece. The two women ended up chatting for an hour about affordable fashion tips and how to look polished on a budget. This conversation led to another, and another. Soon, Sarah found herself becoming an informal fashion advisor among the other mothers in her community. She shared what she had learned about mixing affordable pieces, investing in versatile basics, and taking inspiration from well-dressed public figures like the princess. Dr. Peterson at work noticed the change too. "Sarah, you've really developed quite an eye for style," he commented one day. "Have you ever considered working in fashion? You have a natural talent for helping people look their best." The suggestion planted a seed in Sarah's mind. She had always been creative, but had never considered that her interest in fashion could be more than a hobby. That night, she researched fashion careers that didn't require expensive education or connections. She learned about personal styling, fashion blogging, and retail consulting. Meanwhile, her collection of princess-inspired affordable pieces was slowly growing. She had found a cream sweater similar to one Catherine wore to a children's hospital visit, and a pair of nude pumps that matched ones the princess had worn to multiple events. Each purchase was carefully considered, and each piece had to work with at least 3 other items in her wardrobe. Emma loved their new shopping adventures. Sarah would bring her along to stores, teaching her daughter about quality fabrics, classic styles, and smart shopping. Emma was learning that looking good didn't have to mean spending a fortune. "Mommy," Emma said one evening as Sarah was getting ready for a parent-teacher conference, "you always look so pretty now. But you looked pretty before too. What changed?" Sarah thought carefully about her answer. "I think I learned that feeling beautiful comes from inside, but sometimes the right clothes can help that inside feeling show on the outside. And you don't need to be rich to dress with confidence." At the parent-teacher conference, Emma's teacher, Miss Rodriguez, pulled Sarah aside. "I wanted to tell you that Emma has been much more confident lately," she said. "She's been speaking up more in class and seems to carry herself with more self-assurance. I don't know what you've been doing differently at home, but whatever it is, it's working." Sarah realized that her own transformation had been affecting Emma too. By showing her daughter that a woman could take pride in her appearance regardless of her budget, she was teaching Emma valuable lessons about self-worth and confidence. That night, Sarah started a notebook. She began documenting all the Princess of Wales outfits she admired, along with affordable alternatives she found in regular stores. She noted styling tips, color combinations that worked well, and ways to make budget pieces look more expensive. Mrs. Chen, who had become Sarah's unofficial fashion consultant and biggest supporter, looked through the notebook one evening. "You know," the older woman said thoughtfully, "this is like a guidebook. Other women would find this very helpful." "You think so?" I know so. You have taken something that seemed impossible, looking like royalty on a regular person's budget, and made it possible. That's a gift, Sarah. Don't hide it. As Sarah tucked Emma into bed that night, her daughter asked, "Mommy, are we still poor?" The question caught Sarah off guard. They were still living paycheck to paycheck, still struggling with the same financial challenges as before. But something fundamental had shifted. "We still don't have a lot of money, sweetheart," Sarah answered honestly. "But we're rich in other ways. We're rich in confidence, in creativity, in knowing how to make the best of what we have." Emma nodded seriously. "And we're rich because we look like princesses even though we're not princesses." "Exactly," Sarah laughed, kissing her daughter's forehead. "We're rich because we know that being a princess is about how you carry yourself, not about how much money you have." As Sarah turned off Emma's light and walked to her own room, she caught sight of herself in the hallway mirror. She was wearing a simple white t-shirt and jeans, but something about her posture, her expression, the way she held her head, did indeed look regal. The journey had started with a navy blazer and a moment of inspiration while folding laundry. But Sarah was beginning to realize it was leading somewhere much bigger than an improved wardrobe. She was discovering a confidence she never knew she possessed, and, more importantly, she was learning that true style, like true royalty, comes from within. Tomorrow, she decided, she would start writing down her ideas more seriously. Maybe Mrs. Chen was right. Maybe other women could benefit from what she was learning. Maybe this was the beginning of something wonderful. 3 months had passed since Sarah's fashion awakening, and her notebook had grown thick with observations and discoveries. She had become an expert at spotting affordable versions of the Princess of Wales outfits, and her own style had evolved into something she never thought possible on her limited budget. The real test came when Dr. Peterson announced that the dental practice would be hosting a charity gala to raise funds for children's dental health. As the receptionist, Sarah would be expected to attend and help greet guests. The event was black tie optional, which sent panic through Sarah's newly confident heart. "I can't afford a formal dress," she confided to Mrs. Chen over tea one afternoon. "Everything I've learned about budget fashion goes out the window when you need something for a fancy event." Mrs. Chen sipped her tea thoughtfully. "Remember that purple dress the princess wore to the charity auction last month? The one all the fashion magazines talked about?" Sarah nodded. She had saved that particular outfit inspiration in her notebook. Catherine had worn a stunning purple midi dress that had looked incredibly elegant and expensive. "What if I told you," Mrs. Chen continued with a mysterious smile, "that I saw the exact same dress at H&M last week for £30? Sarah's eyes widened. "Are you serious?" "Dead serious. And in your size too." I checked. That weekend, Sarah and Emma made a special trip to H&M. Sarah's heart was pounding as they searched through the formal wear section. Just when she was beginning to think Mrs. Chen had been mistaken, Emma called out excitedly, "Mommy! Is this the princess dress?" There it was, the purple midi dress with 3/4 sleeves and a modest neckline that had looked so sophisticated on Catherine. Sarah held it up against herself, hardly believing her luck. In the fitting room, the transformation was remarkable. The dress hugged her figure in all the right places, and the rich purple color brought out the warmth in her brown eyes. She looked elegant, sophisticated, and, yes, royal. "Mommy, you look like you should live in a castle," Emma declared when Sarah emerged from the fitting room. But, even with the dress being affordable by H&M standards, it was still a significant expense for Sarah's budget. She stood in the store for 10 minutes, weighing the decision. Finally, she thought about all the confidence the Princess of Wales seemed to radiate at charity events, and how important it was for her to represent Dr. Peterson's practice well. "I'm investing in my future," she told herself as she walked to the checkout counter. The night of the gala, Sarah spent extra time getting ready. She had watched YouTube tutorials on how to style her hair in a low chignon similar to Catherine's go-to formal hairstyle. She used the makeup techniques she had learned from watching the princess's public appearances, subtle but polished, with a focus on healthy-looking skin and defined eyes. When she looked in the mirror, Sarah barely recognized herself. The woman staring back looked confident, elegant, and completely at ease in formal wear. Emma, who was having a sleepover at Mrs. Chen's, had insisted on seeing her mother before she left. "Mommy, you're the most beautiful princess in the world," Emma declared, and, this time, Sarah believed her daughter might be right. At the gala, held in the ballroom of the town's nicest hotel, Sarah felt the familiar flutter of nervousness. She was used to being behind the reception desk, not mingling with the town's most prominent citizens. But, as she walked into the room, something magical happened. Her posture straightened naturally. Her smile became genuine and warm. She moved with the grace and confidence she had been unconsciously copying from watching the Princess of Wales at similar events. The affordable dress, combined with her newfound inner confidence, created an aura of elegance that drew people to her. "Sarah!" Dr. Peterson called out as she entered. "You look absolutely stunning. I'd like you to meet the mayor and his wife." As the evening progressed, Sarah found herself in conversation after conversation with interesting, accomplished people. She discovered that when you feel good about how you look, it's easier to focus on others and engage genuinely in conversation, another lesson she had learned from observing Catherine's interaction style at public events. The turning point came when Mrs. Whitmore, the wife of the town's most successful businessman, approached her during cocktail hour. "Excuse me," Mrs. Whitmore said, "but I have to ask, who is your stylist? You have such impeccable taste, and that dress is gorgeous. It looks like something a royal would wear." Sarah felt her cheeks warm. "Thank you so much. Actually, I don't have a stylist. I just try to learn from looking at well-dressed women and finding affordable versions of pieces I admire." Mrs. Whitmore's eyes lit up with interest. "You mean you put this look together yourself? That's incredible. I spend a fortune on personal shoppers and I don't think I've ever looked as polished as you do tonight." Their conversation continued, and Sarah found herself sharing her philosophy about budget-friendly elegance. She talked about investing in versatile pieces, learning to accessorize effectively, and taking inspiration from style icons like the Princess of Wales. "You know," Mrs. Whitmore said, "I have several friends who would kill for advice like this. Have you ever considered offering styling services? There's such a market for someone who can help regular women look extraordinary without spending a fortune." The idea excited Sarah, but also terrified her. "I don't have any formal training in fashion. Honey, what you have is better than training. You have real-world experience and an eye for what works. Some of the most successful people I know started with nothing but passion and determination." As the evening wound down, Sarah found herself exchanging contact information with several women who wanted her advice on affordable style. The seed that Dr. Peterson had planted months earlier was beginning to sprout. On the drive home, Sarah couldn't stop thinking about Mrs. Whitmore's words. When she picked up Emma from Mrs. Chen's the next morning, still glowing from the previous night's success, her elderly friend immediately noticed the change. "Something wonderful happened last night," Mrs. Chen observed. "Tell me everything." As Sarah recounted the evening's events, Mrs. Chen nodded approvingly. "I told you that notebook of yours was special. You've been preparing for this moment without even knowing it." Over the next few weeks, word spread about Sarah's styling abilities. The women she had met at the gala started calling for advice, and they recommended her to their friends. Sarah found herself helping busy mothers find work-appropriate outfits on tight budgets, showing recent graduates how to dress professionally without debt, and teaching older women how to update their style affordably. Her first official client was Jenny, a young teacher who had just started her career and was struggling to build a professional wardrobe on her tiny salary. Jenny arrived at their coffee shop meeting looking overwhelmed and underdressed. "I see all these Pinterest boards of teacher style, but everything costs hundreds of dollars," Jenny complained. "I make barely enough to pay rent, let alone buy designer clothes." Sarah smiled, recognizing her former self in the young woman's frustration. "The secret isn't expensive clothes," she said gently. "It's knowing how to shop smart and style creatively. Have you ever noticed how the Princess of Wales often wears affordable pieces mixed with more expensive ones? The key is knowing which pieces to invest in and which ones you can buy cheaply. They spent the afternoon shopping together, with Sarah teaching Jenny how to identify quality fabrics, classic cuts, and versatile pieces. They found a blazer similar to one Catherine had worn to a school visit, paired it with affordable basics from various stores, and created 5 different professional outfits for less than the cost of one designer piece. "I can't believe how different I look," Jenny said, modeling her new looks in the store's fitting room. "I actually feel like a professional teacher now, not like I'm playing dress up in someone else's clothes." Word of mouth was powerful in their small town. Soon, Sarah was booking styling consultations 3 nights a week and all day Saturday. She was earning almost as much from her new side business as she was from her day job. Emma loved being part of her mother's fashion adventures. She would help Sarah organize client mood boards, give opinions on outfit combinations, and even started developing her own eye for style. The 8-year-old had learned to spot quality pieces at thrift stores and could identify princess-inspired looks from across a store. "Mommy," Emma said one evening as they sorted through photos of potential outfits for a client, "are we going to be rich now?" Sarah considered the question carefully. "We're going to be comfortable, sweetheart. But, more importantly, we're doing work that makes other people happy and confident. That's a different kind of richness." The breakthrough moment came when Sarah received an email from an unexpected source. A fashion blogger from London who had somehow heard about her work through a mutual connection reached out with an intriguing proposition. "I've been following your approach to accessible royal style," the email read, "and I'm fascinated by how you've democratized elegant dressing. Would you be interested in collaborating on a series about budget-friendly princess-inspired looks? I think our combined audiences would love this content." Sarah read the email 3 times before it sank in. A real fashion blogger, someone with thousands of followers, wanted to work with her. She felt the familiar flutter of imposter syndrome, but this time, instead of letting it paralyze her, she thought about all the women she had helped, all the confidence she had built, and all the proof she had that her approach worked. She called Mrs. Chen immediately. "This is it," the older woman said firmly after hearing about the email. "This is your chance to help not just the women in our town, but women everywhere. You have to say yes." "But what if I'm not ready? What if I embarrass myself?" "Sarah, honey, look at everything you've accomplished in just a few months. You've gone from feeling invisible to running a successful styling business. You've helped dozens of women feel beautiful and confident. You're ready for whatever comes next." That night, after putting Emma to bed, Sarah sat down at her computer and carefully crafted her response to the fashion blogger. As she typed, she thought about the journey that had started with a simple navy blazer and a moment of inspiration. She thought about all the Princess of Wales outfits she had studied, not just for their aesthetic appeal, but for what they represented, the idea that style, elegance, and confidence were not reserved for the wealthy or well-born. Catherine's approach to fashion had taught Sarah that true style was about authenticity, appropriateness, and accessibility. "I would be honored to collaborate with you," Sarah typed. "I believe that every woman deserves to feel royal, regardless of her budget." As she hit send, Sarah realized that she was no longer just inspired by the Princess of Wales, she was becoming an inspiration herself. The student had become the teacher, and the journey was just beginning. 6 months after her collaboration with the London fashion blogger launched, Sarah's life had transformed in ways she never could have imagined. The blog series titled Royal Style for Real Life had gone viral, with thousands of women sharing their own budget-friendly princess-inspired looks. Sarah's inbox was flooded with messages from women around the world, thanking her for making elegant style accessible. But success brought unexpected challenges. Sarah found herself torn between her growing online presence and her responsibilities as a single mother. Late nights responding to client emails and early mornings preparing content meant less time with Emma, and the guilt was eating away at her newfound confidence. The crisis came on a Tuesday morning when Emma's teacher called during Sarah's lunch break. "Ms. Mitchell, Emma seems quite upset today," Miss Rodriguez said gently. "She mentioned that you've been working a lot lately and she misses spending time with you. I thought you should know." Sarah's heart sank. She had been so focused on building her business and helping other women feel confident that she had missed the signs that her own daughter was struggling with the changes. That evening, Sarah canceled her scheduled video call with a potential client and sat down with Emma for a real conversation. "Sweetheart, Miss Rodriguez told me you had a hard day. Do you want to talk about it?" Emma's eyes filled with tears. "I'm proud that you're helping other mommies feel pretty," she said in a small voice, "but I miss when it was just us. Now you're always on your computer or talking to ladies about clothes." The words hit Sarah like a physical blow. She had worked so hard to improve their lives, but, in the process, she had neglected what mattered most, her relationship with her daughter. "You're absolutely right," Sarah said, pulling Emma into her lap. "I've been so excited about helping other people that I forgot the most important person in my life needs me too." They spent the rest of the evening making a new schedule together. Sarah would work on her styling business only during certain hours, and she would never sacrifice their weekend time together. Emma helped create a family time jar where they would put ideas for fun activities they could do together. The next morning, Sarah made a difficult decision. She called her collaboration partner in London and explained that she needed to scale back her commitments to focus on being the mother Emma deserved. "I completely understand," the blogger said warmly. "Actually, I think your honesty about balancing work and family will resonate with many of our readers. Would you consider writing about that struggle? How does a working mother maintain style and confidence while prioritizing her children?" The suggestion sparked something in Sarah. She realized that her journey hadn't just been about learning to dress well on a budget, it had been about finding confidence as a whole person, including as a mother. Her next blog post, titled Royal Parenting: How to Feel Put Together When Life Gets Messy, struck a chord with readers that surprised everyone. She wrote about the guilt of wanting to look nice when money was tight, about feeling judged by other parents, and about the challenge of teaching daughters about self-worth in an image-obsessed world. "I used to think that being a good mother meant sacrificing everything for my child, including my own sense of self," she wrote. "But I've learned that when mothers feel confident and happy, their children benefit too. The Princess of Wales manages to look polished and professional while clearly being a devoted mother. That balance is possible for all of us." The response was overwhelming. Hundreds of mothers shared their own stories of feeling lost in the demands of parenthood, of forgetting who they were beyond their children's needs. Sarah found herself becoming not just a style advisor, but a voice for mothers trying to maintain their identity while raising their families. Mrs. Chen, who had been watching Sarah's journey with pride and concern, nodded approvingly at the new direction. "You were getting lost in your success," she said wisely. "Now you're finding your way back to what matters. That's the real royalty, knowing your priorities." Emma seemed happier too. She loved being included in her mother's work in age-appropriate ways, like helping organize accessories or giving opinions on kid-friendly outfit ideas. Sarah started featuring Emma's pics in her content, showing how to dress stylishly for activities with children. One of Sarah's most popular posts featured 10 outfits inspired by the Princess of Wales school visit looks, comfortable enough to chase children on a playground, but polished enough to feel put together during parent-teacher conferences. Each outfit costs less than £50 total and could be found at regular chain stores. The success of this mother-focused content led to an unexpected opportunity. A national parenting magazine reached out, asking Sarah to write a monthly column about maintaining personal style while parenting on a budget. "We love your approach," the editor explained during their phone call. "You're not telling mothers to be perfect, you're showing them how to feel good about themselves while being real about the challenges of parenthood." Sarah accepted the column, but with strict boundaries. She would write one piece per month, during school hours, and would never let the work interfere with her time with Emma. Her first column focused on 5 mom uniforms inspired by Catherine's casual royal looks. She featured a young mother named Lisa who had contacted Sarah feeling frumpy and invisible after the birth of her second child. "I used to care about how I looked," Lisa had confided during their consultation. "But now I just throw on whatever's clean and hope I don't look too much like a zombie." Together, they created a capsule wardrobe of mix-and-match pieces that were comfortable enough for chasing toddlers but stylish enough for unexpected encounters with other parents. The key was investing in a few quality basics: a good pair of dark jeans, a classic white shirt, a versatile blazer, and learning to accessorize them differently for various occasions. I can't believe how much better I feel, Lisa said after their session. I'm still the same busy mom, but now I feel like myself again too. These success stories filled Sarah with purpose, but she remained mindful of the balance she had promised Emma. They instituted phone-free Fridays where Sarah didn't check emails or social media, focusing entirely on quality time with her daughter. During one of these Friday afternoon walks, Emma made an observation that stopped Sarah in her tracks. "Mommy, you know how you help other ladies feel like princesses?" "Yes, sweetheart. I think the real reason it works is because you make them remember they were always princesses inside. They just forgot for a while." Sarah stared at her 8-year-old daughter, amazed by her wisdom. "That's exactly right, Emma. How did you get so smart?" "I watched you remember that you were a princess too," Emma said simply. That evening, Sarah called her mother for the first time in months. Their relationship had been strained since Sarah's divorce, with her mother often expressing disapproval of Sarah's choices and financial situation. "Mom," Sarah said when her mother answered, "I wanted to tell you about something good that's happening in my life." As she shared her story, the styling business, the blog collaboration, the magazine column, she could hear her mother's surprise through the phone. "Sarah, honey, this sounds wonderful. I had no idea you were doing so well. You sound happy. Really happy, for the first time in years." "I am happy, Mom. Emma and I are building a good life together." "I'm proud of you," her mother said quietly. "I'm sorry I haven't been more supportive. I was so worried about you struggling that I forgot to notice you succeeding." The conversation marked another turning point for Sarah. She realized that her journey had not only changed how she saw herself, but had also changed how others saw her. The confidence she had built through learning to dress well had spilled over into every area of her life. Her growing reputation led to more opportunities than she could handle. Department stores wanted to partner with her for affordable styling workshops. Local schools asked her to speak to teenage girls about building confidence through authentic self-expression. A major retailer inquired about her creating a clothing line inspired by royal style for everyday women. But Sarah had learned the lesson of balance. She carefully chose opportunities that aligned with her values and schedule, always keeping Emma and their family life as the top priority. One of her favorite projects was a workshop series for teenage girls at the local community center. Sarah taught them how to develop their personal style on allowance budgets, but, more importantly, she talked about confidence, self-worth, and the difference between fashion and style. "Style is not about wearing expensive clothes," she told a room full of 15-year-olds. "Style is about knowing who you are and dressing in a way that makes you feel confident and authentic." The Princess of Wales could wear a paper bag and still look royal, because her confidence comes from inside. One shy girl raised her hand. "But what if you don't feel confident inside? What if you feel ugly and awkward?" Sarah's heart went out to her, remembering her own teenage insecurities. "Then, you fake it until you make it," she said gently. "You dress like the confident person you want to be, and, eventually, you become that person. I promise you, it works." After the workshop, the shy girl approached Sarah privately. "My mom can't afford to buy me nice clothes for school. The other kids make fun of me." Sarah spent an hour with the teenager and her mother, showing them how to shop at thrift stores and discount retailers to create a wardrobe that looked intentional and stylish. They found pieces similar to ones the Princess of Wales had worn, adapted for a teenage lifestyle and budget. "The secret is confidence," Sarah told them. "When you walk into school tomorrow wearing that outfit, hold your head high and smile. The clothes are just the costume, you're the star." A month later, the girl's mother sent Sarah a photo of her daughter at the school dance, beaming with confidence in an outfit they had put together for £25 total. These moments reminded Sarah why she had started this journey. It wasn't about fashion or even about the Princess of Wales style choices. It was about helping women and girls realize their own worth, regardless of their circumstances. As Sarah tucked Emma into bed that night, her daughter asked, "Mommy, do you think the real Princess Catherine knows that she helped you help so many people?" Sarah considered the question. "I don't know, sweetheart. But I hope that wherever she is, she knows that her choices matter." The way she dresses and carries herself shows women all over the world that you can be elegant and confident no matter what. Maybe someday you'll meet her and tell her thank you, Emma suggested sleepily. Sarah smiled, kissing her daughter's forehead. Maybe someday I will. 1 year later, Sarah stood in front of her bedroom mirror, adjusting the collar of her navy blazer, the same one that had started her transformation. But this morning was different. Today, she would be attending a charity luncheon in London where the Princess of Wales was the guest of honor. Through a series of connections that still seemed miraculous to Sarah, she had been invited as a representative of women who promoted accessible style and confidence. Emma sat on the bed, watching her mother with obvious pride. "You look perfect, Mommy. Just like a real princess." Sarah smiled, but her hands were shaking slightly. "I'm nervous, sweetheart. What if I don't belong there? What if everyone realizes I'm just a single mom from a small town who learned everything from watching someone on television?" Emma stood up and walked to her mother, taking her hands with the solemnity of an 8-year-old dispensing important wisdom. "Mommy, remember what you always tell the ladies you help? Being royal isn't about where you come from or how much money you have. It's about how you treat people and how you help others feel special." The words were Sarah's own, reflected back to her by her daughter, and they steadied her nerves. She was right to be here. Her work had touched thousands of women's lives. She had built something meaningful from nothing but determination and a willingness to learn. The train journey to London gave Sarah time to reflect on how dramatically her life had changed. Her styling consultancy now had a waiting list 3 months long. Her monthly magazine column was being syndicated internationally. Publishers were interested in her book proposal about affordable royal style. Most importantly, she and Emma had financial security for the first time since her divorce. But the most profound change was internal. Sarah no longer felt like she was pretending to be confident, she actually was confident. The external transformation had led to an internal one, just as she had promised her teenage workshop participants. At the charity luncheon, held in an elegant hotel ballroom, Sarah was struck by how normal the other guests seemed. She had expected to feel out of place among the titled ladies and society figures, but discovered that many of the women present were working professionals, charity organizers, and business owners, women not unlike herself. "Sarah Mitchell?" A well-dressed woman in her 50s approached with a warm smile. "I'm Margaret Thompson from the Children's Trust. I've been following your work online. What you've done for women's confidence is remarkable." As they chatted, Sarah learned that Margaret had started her own charity work as a young mother with limited resources. "The secret to success in any field," Margaret said, "is authenticity. People can sense when someone genuinely cares about making a difference." When the Princess of Wales entered the room, a hush fell over the crowd. Sarah had seen Catherine countless times in photographs and videos, but seeing her in person was different. The princess moved with natural grace, greeting each person with genuine warmth and interest. She was wearing a simple cream dress with a matching blazer, elegant but not ostentatious, exactly the kind of outfit Sarah often recommended to clients. During the luncheon, Sarah found herself seated at a table with other women involved in various charitable causes. The conversation flowed naturally, and Sarah was surprised to discover that several of the women were familiar with her work. "You know," said Helen, a lawyer who ran pro bono legal clinics, "my teenage daughter follows your content religiously. She says you taught her that style isn't about expensive clothes, but about feeling comfortable in your own skin. That's a valuable lesson for young women today." After lunch, there was a brief reception where guests could meet the Princess of Wales personally. Sarah's palms were damp as she waited in line, rehearsing what she might say if given the chance to speak. When her turn came, Catherine's attention was fully focused on her, making Sarah feel like the only person in the room. "Your Royal Highness, I'm Sarah Mitchell," she began, surprised by how steady her voice sounded. "I wanted to thank you for the inspiration your style choices have provided. I work with women on building confidence through accessible fashion, and your approach to mixing high-end, low-end pieces has been incredibly influential." Catherine's eyes lit up with genuine interest. "How wonderful! Please tell me more about your work." For the next few minutes, Sarah found herself explaining her journey and her mission to help women feel beautiful regardless of their budget. Catherine listened intently, asking thoughtful questions about the challenges women face and the impact Sarah had observed. "It sounds like you're doing incredibly important work," Catherine said. "Fashion should be inclusive and empowering, not exclusive and intimidating. I'm delighted that something as simple as my outfit choices might have helped other women feel more confident." "Your Royal Highness, you've helped more than you know," Sarah said earnestly. "When women see you wearing affordable pieces and looking elegant, it gives them permission to believe they can look elegant too. You've democratized royal style." Catherine smiled warmly. "Well, I shall have to remember that when I'm getting dressed in the morning, that somewhere, women like you are helping others find their confidence. Thank you for the important work you're doing." As Sarah walked away from the conversation, she felt as though she were floating. The woman who had inadvertently started her transformation had not only acknowledged her work but had expressed genuine appreciation for it. On the train home, Sarah called Mrs. Chen to share every detail of the day. "I'm not surprised she was impressed," Mrs. Chen said with characteristic directness. "You've built something beautiful from nothing. You've helped hundreds of women find their confidence. That's real royalty, using your gifts to lift others up." When Sarah arrived home that evening, Emma was waiting with a homemade card that read, "Congratulations on meeting the princess." Inside, Emma had drawn a picture of two women in matching blazers, labeled Mommy and Princess Catherine. "Tell me everything," Emma demanded, bouncing with excitement. As Sarah recounted the day's events, she realized that meeting the Princess of Wales had been wonderful, but it wasn't the culmination of her journey, it was simply a milestone along the way. Over the following weeks, Sarah received messages from several women who had attended the luncheon. They were interested in her styling services, but, more importantly, they wanted to support her mission of making confidence accessible to all women. One of these new connections led to Sarah's biggest opportunity yet. Lady Patricia Worthington, a philanthropist who had been at the luncheon, called with an intriguing proposal. "I've been thinking about our conversation," Lady Patricia said. "I'd like to fund a scholarship program that would allow you to offer your services free of charge to women who are rebuilding their lives after difficult circumstances, women leaving abusive relationships, single mothers starting over, women re-entering the workforce after years of unemployment." The program, which they named Confidence and Style, launched 6 months later. Sarah worked with local women's shelters, job training programs, and community centers to identify women who would benefit from styling consultations and confidence workshops. One of her first scholarship clients was Maria, a woman who had fled an abusive marriage with her 2 young children. Maria arrived at their meeting wearing clothes that were clean but ill-fitting, her posture suggesting years of being told she wasn't worth investing in. "I have a job interview next week," Maria explained quietly. "It's my first interview in 10 years. I don't even know how to dress like a professional anymore." Working with Maria reminded Sarah powerfully of her own journey. They shopped carefully, choosing pieces that would work for interviews but also for everyday professional life once Maria found work. More importantly, they talked about confidence, self-worth, and the right to take up space in the world. "I feel like I'm wearing a costume," Maria said uncertainly as she tried on a blazer similar to one Catherine had worn to a business engagement. "That's exactly how I felt at first," Sarah assured her. "But the costume becomes part of you. You're not pretending to be a professional woman, you are a professional woman. The clothes just help you remember that." Maria got the job. 3 months later, she sent Sarah a photo of herself at her workplace, radiating confidence in an outfit they had chosen together. These success stories multiplied, and Sarah found herself at the center of a movement that was about much more than clothes. Women were sharing their stories, supporting each other, and discovering that transformation was possible at any stage of life. Emma, now 9 years old, had grown up watching her mother help women find their strength. She had developed an intuitive understanding of style and confidence that amazed adults. "Mommy," she said one evening as they sorted through donations for the scholarship program, "do you think all this happened because of that princess blazer you bought?" Sarah considered the question seriously. "I think the blazer was just the beginning, sweetheart. The real magic was learning to believe I deserved to feel beautiful and confident. The Princess Catherine helped me see that, but the choice to believe it was mine. And now you help other people make that choice too. We help them, Sarah corrected gently. This is all of our work now. As Sarah tucked Emma into bed that night, her daughter asked, "Mommy, what's next? What new thing are we going to do to help people?" Sarah smiled, thinking about the book proposal that had just been accepted, the speaking engagements that were being requested internationally, and the women who reached out every day seeking hope and guidance. "I don't know exactly what's next," she admitted. "But I know we'll keep helping women remember they're already princesses inside. They just need someone to remind them and show them how to let that princess shine." As she turned off the lights and walked to her own room, Sarah caught sight of herself in the hallway mirror. She was wearing a simple t-shirt and pajama pants, but something in her posture, her expression, the way she carried herself, still looked unmistakably regal. The journey that had begun with a single moment of inspiration while watching the news had become a life's work. Sarah had learned that true royalty wasn't about titles or wealth, it was about grace, service, and the ability to lift others up. In teaching other women to dress like princesses, she had learned to live like one. And, in a small apartment across town, Maria was hanging up her work clothes after another successful day at her new job, catching sight of herself in her own mirror and, standing just a little bit taller, carrying herself with just a little bit more confidence, the ripple effect of one woman's transformation spreading endlessly outward, one royal blazer and one moment of courage at a time.